Okay, so here I am with the one and only Antonia Mills, Professor Emeritus of the University of Northern British Columbia and leading expert in the field of the reincarnation beliefs of the Indigenous people of Turtle Island. This is the book that she is the co-editor of, Amerindian Rebirth, Reincarnation Belief Among North American Indians and Inuit. And I am here to interview Antonia about her life's work. How are you doing today, Antonia?
Good, pretty good. I'm getting pretty old.
Yeah. Do you want to show your bracelet?
Oh, yeah. I have a bracelet that says Antonia Mills, Alzheimer's.
Yeah, so you were diagnosed with Alzheimer's about 5 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So,
Good
yeah,
for you.
so I think it's important, to record some of your memories. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your life and how you first became first when you first became interested in reincarnation and why you made it your life's work to study this field?
Sure. I went with my first husband up to the Beaver Indians. We went there, gosh, that was 1964, I think it was about 1964 we went there for the very first time, or maybe 65. Um, and the Beaver Indians are in north
Northeastern BC?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Okay.
northeastern BC, and they believe deeply in reincarnation. They take the life of every single animal so that it will want to come back and feed them again, and they recognize that people come back as well,
Hmm.
and that's that they introduced me to the whole topic.
Okay, and then so you're an anthropologist, cultural anthropologist, is that correct?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. So you did your field work amongst the Beaver Indians in northeastern BC,
Mm-hmm.
and you did a thesis, is that correct? What was your thesis about?
Hmm. Do I remember? I'd probably have to look at my CV to see, but it was what was it about?
Is it about reincarnation?
Could be.
Okay. Okay, well, let me ask you this. What do you believe about the soul?
Mm, that people have a soul, everyone, but no matter where they live and whether they think about it or not, and the soul survives after the, the death of the physical body, and often reincarnates.
Okay, so often but not always?
Well, sometimes it spends a long time in an astral world,
Okay, so
but particularly among people that expect to reincarnate, and they do.
Okay, so I've read before that the soul typically spends 7 weeks in the astral realm before reincarnating. Do you believe this, or do you believe that's just one um, opinion of someone?
I think that's a very difficult. I mean, it's. I think there's a lot of variation.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and so you're 80 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You will not live forever. Are you afraid of death?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No.
What do you think is going to happen to you after you die?
Mm. Well, I'm going to go to an astral land for a while, uh, and enjoy that very much. And eventually, I'll probably reincarnate, but I haven't made any plans whatsoever about where and how to do that.
Do you want to reincarnate as a human being again?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that human beings usually or always reincarnate as human beings?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's very unlikely that I would reincarnate as a wolf or a platypus or something like that.
Right.
No? Okay. So you studied under Ian Stevenson, correct?
Hmm.
So Ian Stevenson, was he the first Western academic to study reincarnation seriously from the point of view of Western science?
Yes,
Okay,
he
so
really developed the whole study of reincarnation. Yeah,
okay.
I met him. He had gone.
Can you hold up this book here? Yeah, so this is 20 cases suggestive of reincarnation. I think Ian Stevenson's still kind of the best known person in the field.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah?
He is. I mean, Jim Tucker. He's passed on, Ian Stevenson,
Mm-hmm.
and Jim Tucker has taken on his position at the University of Virginia, and he's good too. But Ian Stevenson wrote a lot of wonderful books
Okay. So, uh,
and studied, all over the world.
okay. And
He's just.
I imagine in India there's probably, a large kind of, field of study and
Hmm. Hmm.
body of knowledge.
Yeah. So he sent me, 3 times to India to study cases there. And I really enjoyed that.
Okay. What was that like?
It was awesome. Um, I had Narendra K. Chadha, who is a professor at the University of Delhi, was my translator. He had worked with Ian Stevenson's for a time, so that's how that came about. And so he we traveled to study these different cases, etc. And I would ask a question, and he would translate it, and he would translate what the person answered. You know, sometimes it was a small child who was remembering a previous life. Sometimes it was somebody who was older who remembered a previous life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Other people in the family, and then go to see the relatives of the person who passed away as well, and interview them. That was quite a wonderful experience.
Okay, so
I went there a number of times.
if you were presented with a super skeptical person, it's like prove it, prove that the soul exists, prove that reincarnation is real. What would your response be?
I'd say, why don't you read some of Ian Stevenson's work or Jim Tucker's work? His successor, or my work.
Your work, okay.
Yeah, the cases are really interesting and quite compelling. And sometimes a person is killed in some kind of way, and then they're reborn with a birthmark that uh, relates to how they died in the previous life that they talk about. There are a lot of interesting cases like that where there are birthmarks that relate to the cause of death in the previous life too. Ian Stevenson has done a lot of research on that, as well as myself and Jim Tucker.
Okay, so I think that it's commonly understood now that animism is the mother of all religions, like there's one sort of nature based, you know, um, set of kind of practices or beliefs that you might call shamanism, that are found in different parts of the world, and kind of might speak to some sort of original kind of state of um, spirituality that grows out of our relationship with the earth. Um, and how do you think? Do you think that all of these original cultures had some version of belief in reincarnation?
Original cultures. Um, Most likely, sure.
Okay. And so, do you think that people would have a different attitude towards life if they believed in reincarnation?
To some extent, sure. I mean, than people who don't believe in reincarnation. Um, yeah, knowing that thinking that there'd be consequences of the actions that they take, for sure.
Okay, so do you believe that it's about karma at the end of the day, that if you do bad things in this life, then you'll kind of pay for them in a future life, or is that an oversimplification?
It is, the good and the bad also get represented in the future, future life.
Okay, so do you believe in divine justice? Or let me put that away another way. Do you believe that we all get what we deserve in the end?
Sometimes it may take a number of different lives.
Okay. So, how does your spirituality, how has your spirituality affected the choices that you've made in your life?
Well, I want to do things right so that the right things happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so you, at a certain point, I remember from reading that you had a very powerful memory of a past life experience of uh, living. Do you want to tell us about the memory that led you to start working with the Wet'suwet'en and the Gitxsan?
Well, started working with the Wet'suwet'en and the Gitxsan because my husband, who's a grad student also, um, chose to go there and do research with them. I'm not sure what past life experience you're claiming.
Okay, I think that we spoke about it on a previous occasion, that you remembered having been a life in a village on the coast of uh, the Pacific Northwest when there were raiders or explorers who invaded, basically.
I'm not recalling that now.
Okay, fair enough. Um, how about what do you remember of your time with working with the Wet'suwet'en in the Delgamuukw Gasteyaway court case?
Mm. It was a real pleasure and honor to get to work with them for that court case where they were wanting the government, the legal system, the people, everyone, the Westerners, to recognize their rights to their land that they lived on for time out of mind.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that things are getting better?
Maybe, but it's, maybe only slowly. I mean, right now, there's this real concern that the pipeline that's being going down through Wet'suwet'en land their point of digging it to go underneath the Wazunkwa, the Maurice, which Father Maurice renamed the Maurice River.
Yeah.
And, if that's a tricky thing to do because it's a huge river. And if any of that stuff from the pipeline goes into the water, it could have serious, serious consequences in terms of killing the salmon roe, the little salmon that are in
The eggs,
the eggs and yeah, and right, sperm and everything, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a row. Um, it's that's a real concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So part of the reason that I wanted to interview you is because I have the idea in the back of my mind, maybe in a few years, of writing a book about the my experiences working with the Wet'suwet'en over the course of the past 10 years.
Your experiences?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So what have you done?
What have I done?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I, for the first time, started living on Wet'suwet'en territory in 2012, and I spent about 5 months at the Unistoten camp in the early days. Um, and yeah, then helped to build that camp up, and also another camp on Gidimt'en territory back at that same time, and then blockade, and then there was the Gidimt'en access checkpoint in 2018, and from then helped to start the Wet'suwet'en village on Parrot Lake a few years ago, and I'm still involved with that project. So
That's the one on Getting Territory?
that one's Lixamitsu. That one is
Oh,
with
right.
with Adam Gagnon
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Lillian Wilson, and yeah, and so yeah, and part of what I'm curious about is where how I would go about kind of researching the culture more. I mean, I guess the you know the sources are kind of like, well, there's Father Maurice, obviously. Like, how do you feel about his, like, how reliable are the primary sources? I guess Diamond Jeunesse and Maurice, and how do you feel about these ethnographers, or is there is there anything to a value to be gained from them, or um,
They're definitely worth reading, but they came without an appreciation or understanding of the Wet'suwet'en worldview, um, and they learned it to some extent, but it's not clear how well it's not superly well represented by them.
okay, but still worth reading?
Sure.
Which would you who would you say is better, Diamond Jeunesse or Father Maurice?
Probably Diamond Jeunesse.
Yeah. Um, what do you think that he had? Do you think that he was that he recorded the stories accurately, without putting too much spin on it?
You should ask the Wet'suwet'en that question.
Okay,
Get,
sure.
get their if they have seen, if they've read, how he recorded them.
Okay. Um, so let's see. Um, are there any other books that you think are of particular value, either about the Wet'suwet'en or the Gitxsan, or you know? Oh yeah, one thing that I'm really interested in is the prophet dance, and the beanie, the kind of prophet who kind of sort of integrated sort of traditional beliefs with Christianity, and um,
Which the Beaver Indians represent.
yeah. Do you want to speak a little bit about the prophet dance?
Mm-hmm. Um, when my first husband and I went to the Beaver Indians to do research, we learned about the prophet dance and met one of the last prophets before he passed on.
So you met one of the last prophets that carried that lineage.
Yeah, but he died that first summer we were there.
Okay, so you did meet him before he died,
Mm-hmm.
and he was part of that movement that was started by Beanie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, because I'm very interested in, there's a number of different prophets, like Juan Diego, Handsome Lake. And there's one who is Aztec whose name escapes me now, but you know, people who, you
In
know,
different parts of the.
exactly, yeah, who all kind of synthesized Christianity with the indigenous beliefs of their traditional cultures, and yeah, I don't know. Do you think that there's sort of one universal truth that all of these different religious religions are expressing in a different way?
That's these traditions, live on through people that through reincarnation, and that was a deep, deep, deep belief of Indigenous people. Um, as part of the Haudenosaunee, the Mohawk, Iroquois, as well. Um, and you know, people forget what a huge part they had in impacting the Western settlers. That the whole advent of democracy basically came from them.
I know.
Isn't that
I know that.
amazing?
Well, that book. Do you want to pick up that book? Okay. So I brought Antonia this book, The Dawn of Everything: A New History of Humanity by David Graeber and David Wengrow, and that's the subject of this book. And
Wow.
you know, this is I don't know. I think that this is one of the major works of anthropology and archaeology of the past few years for sure.
Wow.
And yeah, that's the subject of it, about how the Enlightenment ideals came directly from the indigenous people of Turtle Island. That you know, that this influence was tremendous. So clearly you've known that for you know, for probably a long time, but
Yeah.
now some people are starting to catch up to you. Uh,
If you like, I can bring out a painting that at this.
sure, I'll follow you. I'll follow you.
Well, just wait here, and I'll bring. Well, you can. I'm going to bring it out from underneath my bed.
Okay. Is it okay to follow you? Or?
Sure.
All right. It's Antonia's brand new home here. She just moved. Oh, so these are your teachers, or these are the kind of who are these paintings of? I guess there's Jesus. Is that
Yeah,
that's Yogananda?
I do meditation.
Okay. Who are these different? These are different masters, I suppose.
These are all the sort of masters that Paramahansa Yogananda
Right. Okay.
uses.
Okay. So that is Jesus, right?
Yep.
Okay. And is that Krishna? And then who's on the right?
That's Mahatar Babaji,
Okay.
and that's Lahiri Mahashaya,
Okay.
and that's Swami Sri Yukteswar on the right hand side,
Okay.
and that's Paramahansa Yogananda next to him.
Oh, yeah. I recognized him. So, so was that? Would you say that Autobiography of a Yogi was the most influential book in your life?
What was it? It was maybe. How do I get this out?
Here, let me help you with that.
Maybe it needs to come out. Maybe it needs to come out on the side.
It's a little tricky to get it out.
Maybe we should put it back in and bring it out on the side.
Okay.
I think that's better because there isn't that lift.
Okay, I think we need to move this chair out of the way here. Oh, no. Okay. All right, here.
Should we take it outside?
Sure. Okay. So is that one of the Mohawk warriors?
Yes. This is by Ellen Gabriel Kanazatake.
Okay, yeah, the famous Mohawk warrior. So is that by her or of?
She painted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and who's it of?
It's about this is the Mohawk who are fighting against the fact that their forests were being cut down against their will, and this is a woman healing tree from all the bullet shots, wounds that it received when there was all that confrontation with them. And this is the spirits on this side helping her.
Okay, cool. Very cool. And so this is clearly one of your prized possessions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's very bright. I had it, up in what I called my dining room before I moved here quite recently.
Okay.
And for a brief period of time, I had it on the wall in the bed at the foot of my bed in the bedroom, but it didn't seem that was an appropriate place for it.
Oh, okay. Are you thinking about putting it on the wall here?
I'm not sure exactly what to do because I don't have. It's too big for this room. So I'm not quite sure. One of my daughters is thinking about whether she can fit it at her place.
Okay.
And I'll ask my other daughter if she can at hers.
Okay.
Which is where I lived previously before moving in here.
Okay.
She's moving.
Do you want to sit back down outside again?
Sure.
Let's put this. We'll put this back in a minute here.
Okay, you can put it against the wall here if you like, just standing up.
Okay, sure.
Here, you can do that.
Okay, so as long as I've got you here and I've got you on camera, I want to give you the opportunity to send a message to the people of the future, whether that's your children or people who might become interested in your work in the future, and maybe they'll punch your name into YouTube and they'll find this interview. What message do you have for the people of the future?
Well, regarding reincarnation, it's a deep, deep, deep subject, and though it became expunged from Christianity in, 571 of the Second Council, Constantinople. It was originally, part of Christianity too, but no longer is. So most Westerners don't think in those terms, but it's something that is really worth looking into and considering, because everyone's lives have many different aspects and that relate to previous lives as well. Should I answer the telephone?
I think you could call them back.
Okay.
Hopefully they don't.
I don't know. I can't see messages, and I gotta go.
Okay.
I bet you it was my daughter, Amber.
Okay.
Because I usually go to her place on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Answer it, and we'll do this.